This is near the end here. And Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce, they've surrendered to the U.S. military. Chief Joseph said, "I believe General Miles, or I never would have surrendered. Tell General Howard I know his heart. What he told me before I have in my heart, I am tired of fighting. Our chiefs are killed. Looking Glass is dead. The old men are killed. It is the young men who say yes or no. He, Olcott, brother of Joseph, he who led the young men is dead. It is cold and we have no blankets. Our little children are freezing to death. I want to look for my children and see how many of them I may find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired. Heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever." Then Joseph drew his blanket over his head. At Keogh, they ate the white man's bread. The taste was gray to a prisoner's tongue. Then Bismarck, then Leavenworth, far off in Kansas, on one side a river. Before ice came, edges were streaked, slick, slow. It crawled. But when sun in its season came back, its wrath might suck up green bubbles of slime to burst. On the other side, a fat lagoon lulled with dead fish floating, belly white upward, and all water foul for cooking or drinking. As early heat grew by daylight or night, night moonlit or dark, insects unremitting were whizzing or sizzling like lust in the blood, or the sound the lust of murder makes in the deep of your heart before the stroke. Ah, when would the terms of the promise be kept? When would the word of Miles set them among promised mountains, far blueness, far whiteness? How could they know that Miles, whom they trusted, was only a brigadier behind whom moved forces faceless, timeless, dim, and in such dimness, merciless? After the arrival of Joseph and his band in Indian Territory, the bad effects of their location at Fort Leavenworth manifested itself in the prostration by sickness at once of 260 of the 410, and in a few months in the death of more than 1/4 of the entire number. Report of the Indian Commission, 1878. Did Joseph now ever think, and with what twisted irony of the name, if he knew it, of that man who held life and death in his hands and who had broken the terms of surrender and sent them to Leavenworth to die? General Sherman it was, and the name he bore, that of the great Indian chief Tecumseh. William Tecumseh Sherman, of course. The great spirit chief who rules above seemed to be looking some other way. I did not see what was being done to my people. Chief Joseph. Perhaps Joseph prayed, but could not die, and living, lived for one thing only, to see the terms of surrender maintained, and his people again in their high land, where men love earth, and earth loves man, and men eat food that earth, in love, gives. With agents, with bosses, Joseph spoke, with inspectors, with officers, getting no heed. Only one man with an uneasy conscience might speak out the truth, and the truth be heard. And was it integrity or some sad division of self, torn in ambition, and ambition's price, that at last made Miles the only staunch friend of Joseph for all the years? In his rising success, did something make Miles wonder what was the price of a star? And was it the friendship of Miles that got Joseph to Hayes to fill the presidential ear with his old story? Using Yellow Bull to speak, he spoke to the great white father, but old Hayes knew his profession. So Joseph was sent to sit with busy commissioners to say, "It makes my heart turn sick when I remember all the good, kind words and broken promises." He told the bounty white men had sometimes paid for a red scalp, the going rate, $100 per buck, 50 per woman, only 25 for a child's. A party of miners returned to Oye from a raid on Indians with 20 scalps and some plunder. The miners are well. The Portland Oregonian. In the North American Review, Joseph's words translated were published. The fraud of, the suffering of his people, the lies, the thoughts of his heart. Thousands bored, read. Some read, remembered, felt their hearts stir. Screwed over, lied to, a false treaty. A good quote from Chief Joseph in here. He says, "A real chief has no self. He thinks of his people." This is a poem by Robert Penn Warren. I believe he wrote this in '83. He won the Pulitzer Prize for poetry. Yep, pretty epic. Shouts to Chief Joseph, shouts to all Native people. John Brown, another good one. Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce, who called themselves the Nimipu, the real people. An epic poem. Yep, 82, 83. First edition. Now we're talking. We're all one. Remember that, folks. That's the lesson. We can all get along. We can all share the earth. One love.